Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now. Everyone who's been paying attention to the NFL, especially the AFC North, knows that this offseason has been absolutely wild. And when it comes to the Steelers, the buzz is all about the team trying to retool and get ready for what promises to be another competitive season. But there's a lot of uncertainty, especially on the offensive side of the ball, which has many fans asking, what exactly are the Steelers doing to improve this team, and how are they positioning themselves for a deep playoff run? It's a fascinating puzzle, and today we're diving deep into what's happening behind the scenes, what the team's plans are, and how this could shape the division and maybe even the entire conference. First, let's talk about the biggest news that's been confirmed recently. Steelers have officially announced their quarterback for the upcoming season. That's right, after much speculation and fan debate, they've welcomed Aaron Rodgers into the fold. And for Steelers fans, that's a seismic shift. Rodgers, at 39 years old, is a future Hall of Famer, a guy with 4 MVP awards, and someone who still has plenty left in the tank. His arrival in Pittsburgh is not just about adding a veteran presence, it's about trying to elevate the entire offense to new heights. But with that comes a lot of questions. How will Rodgers adapt to the Steelers' system? Will he be able to produce the kind of numbers that make Pittsburgh a real contender? And perhaps most importantly, can the team build around him enough to make a serious Super Bowl push? Now, moving beyond the quarterback, let's focus on the wide receiver core. Steelers in recent years have been working hard to rebuild this position, especially after losing some key players over the past couple of seasons. They've brought in a new high-profile receiver who was paid a hefty $150 million after his trade. Fans immediately know who I am talking about. Yes, that's the new wideout, a true game-changer, expected to be a focal point of the offense. That signing was a major statement, signaling the Steelers' intent to compete at the highest level. But even with that big acquisition, there are still questions about the depth and overall strength of the wide receiver room. Right now, the second receiver spot looks somewhat uncertain, with Calvin Austin being the primary candidate. Austin showed flashes last season, but consistency and durability are still issues. The Steelers, knowing the importance of having multiple weapons for Rodgers, might still be looking to add more talent at the position. And that's where things get really interesting. The team's front office, led by GM Omar Khan, has been quite active, but also somewhat cautious. Reports indicate that Khan has been lowballing offers to free agents, which might be a strategic move to keep costs down, or perhaps a sign that the team is waiting for the right opportunity rather than rushing into a deal. And speaking of free agents, some of the names that fans have been watching closely haven't exactly been jumping at the chance to join Pittsburgh. Keenan Allen, for example, has publicly dismissed rumors about him heading to the Steelers. That leaves the team looking elsewhere, and there are a few other options out there, but not all of them are perfect fits. One intriguing possibility floated around is Chris Olave, the young star receiver from New Orleans. Some analysts suggest that Pittsburgh could pursue Olave, aiming to develop him, and then perhaps letting their star receiver walk after his contract ends. It's a bold strategy to invest in a young talent with Rodgers as the quarterback, and then plan for the future once the current star's deal is up. But why would the Saints consider moving Olave? Well, that's the million-dollar question. The Saints are in a bit of a rebuild themselves, and with their cap situation and roster decisions, they might be open to trading away some assets if the right offer comes along. But the real tricky part here is the potential trade involving Amari Cooper. Yes, that's right, Amari Cooper, the reliable one, 0-yard receiver with proven chemistry, is currently a free agent after a tumultuous season with Cleveland and Buffalo. Last year, Cooper was still able to produce solid numbers. But teams are wary now, especially since he's 31 and has had some injury issues, along with questions about effort and consistency when things aren't going well. For the Steelers, acquiring Cooper would make sense on paper. He's a proven commodity, and pairing him with Rodgers could be a nightmare for defenses. But the risk is real. Will Cooper be the same player he was a few years ago? And even if he is, can an aging receiver fit into the Steelers' long-term plans? Meanwhile, another intriguing name that fans have considered is Terry McLaurin from Washington. But realistically, that's more of a pipe dream. Washington isn't about to give up their star receiver without a hefty price tag, and with a potential $30 million annual salary looming, it's unlikely they'll part with him just yet. Still, in the NFL, you never know. Sometimes a team's depth chart can be shaken up by in-season trades or injuries, and if the Steelers find themselves in playoff contention mid-season, that could open the door for a blockbuster trade. But right now, insiders like Ray Fittipaldo are saying that the team's priority is to add depth, probably a veteran receiver who can step in when needed, and not necessarily a game-changing superstar. That's a bit underwhelming for some fans, but it's a pragmatic approach, especially given the competitive nature of the AFC North, which features tough opponents like the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns. Looking at the current roster, the Steelers' wide receiver room is a bit of a mixed bag. They have some promising young talent, but overall, they lack the depth and consistency you'd like to see in a division as fierce and competitive as the AFC North. Their offensive line is solid, and the running game, led by Najee Harris, remains a key part of their identity, but without reliable pass-catching options, it's hard to imagine this team fully unleashing Rodgers' potential. The coaching staff has been emphasizing a balanced attack, but the reality is, with limited options, they might need to get creative and look for more playmakers, whether through trade, signing, or developing their current players. And let's not forget about the bigger picture here. The AFC North is arguably the most competitive division in football right now. The Bengals, with Joe Burrow and their explosive offense, are always a threat. The Ravens, with Lamar Jackson, are looking to bounce back after some injury troubles last year. And the Browns, with their revamped roster and Deshaun Watson, are no longer pushovers. So, for the Steelers, building a strong, versatile offense is crucial if they want to stay ahead or even compete equally with these teams. The arrival of Rodgers gives them a real shot, but it's clear they need to surround him with more weapons. Now, what does this all mean for the season ahead? Well, if the Steelers can add a couple more reliable receivers, whether through trade or free agency, and keep their core healthy, they could be serious contenders in the AFC. The division is wide open in many ways, and with Rodgers at the helm, the team's ceiling is sky-high. But they'll need to be strategic, patient, and maybe a little lucky to get the right pieces in place before the season kicks off. The big question mark remains: will they find that perfect complement for DK Metcalf, who's expected to be their primary deep threat? Or will they have to settle for less and hope that their young receivers develop faster than expected? In terms of statistics, Rodgers' career numbers are impressive. Over his career, he's thrown for over 59, 0 yards and 475 touchdowns, with a career passer rating of 103. 2. When paired with top-tier receivers like Davante Adams, he was nearly unstoppable. If he can replicate that magic with Pittsburgh's weapons, the Steelers could be looking at a top-5 offense in the league. But that's the big if, because the offensive line and receiver depth will play a huge role in how successful Rodgers can be. The coaching staff, led by Mike Tomlin, is known for his adaptability and game-planning prowess, so expect them to craft an offense that maximizes Rodgers' strengths, whether that means quick passes, creative formations, or exploiting mismatches. Of course, nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. Injuries, unforeseen setbacks, or miscommunications can derail even the most talented teams. But the optimism among Steelers fans is palpable. They see this as a pivotal year, one where the team's window is still open, and with the right moves, they could not only contend for the division but also make a serious run deep into the playoffs. The AFC North is no longer just about physicality and defense. It's about explosive offenses, strategic depth, and star power. The Steelers, with Rodgers and a few key additions, are positioning themselves to be part of that elite group. So, as the offseason continues and training camp approaches, all eyes are on Pittsburgh. Will they make that splashy move to add a proven receiver, or will they rely on development and depth? Either way, the story is far from over, and this season promises to be one of the most exciting in recent memory for Steelers fans. The potential is there. The talent is there. The question is, can they put everything together in time? Only time will tell, but one thing is for certain, Steelers Nation, we're in for a wild ride, and I'll be here to bring you every step of the way. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all these rumors and moves? Do you think the team will finally make that big splash at wide receiver, or are they going to stick with what they have and develop internally? Are you optimistic about Rodgers leading the team, or do you have concerns about the offensive line or the depth at receiver? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. Remember, this is a fan-driven community, and your voice helps shape the conversation. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, insider info, and analysis, so stay tuned for the latest Steelers news. This season is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and together we'll follow every twist and turn along the way. Thanks for being part of this journey, and as always, let's go Steelers!